Moon gang. Hello, folks. It is officially autumn. Hello. It is Thursday, September 23rd. And folks, it's always a beautiful day to be an ape. I don't know if it's your morning, afternoon, evening, night. I don't know what time it is, wherever you're watching, but I hope you're having an absolutely good one. And I honestly think it might be a pretty fun day in the market. We're seeing some money pouring back in. The buying faucet has been turned back on as some of these external pressures are starting to finally light in, and I don't know. I think people are starting to look past some of these issues, and there was just a little bit of uncertainty there. People were a little bit on edge, but it seems like things are calming down, and it seems like we're slowly but surely getting back to where we should be, and kind of like these green tendy days that we've all become so accustomed to. Folks, very, very excited. So let's just hop right into it. Before we do the technicals and the breakdown, I really do enjoy this. The 5 things that you need to know about today. Let's just quickly burn through this list. Dow set to jump after snapping 4-day losing streak. We all know that. China prepares possible Evergrande demise. Oh, this is important. Chinese authorities have told local officials to prepare for a potential collapse of heavily indebted Evergrande. Local officials described the signals from Chinese authorities as getting ready for possible storm. Said the government told them to step in only at the last minute to prevent spillover effects from Evergrande's demise. According to the Journal, the larger developer made a payment on a local bond Wednesday. However, it's unclear if the company will pay interest due Thursday on its offshore bonds. So that's what's going down today. They have about 84 million due in interest payments today. And then if you fast forward 6 more days, they have an additional 40 million due. So they paid off some of their, I guess what they had to pay to local bondholders yesterday in terms of interest payments. They have another payment today, another payment in 6 days. So 1 of 3 taken care of. And during the stream today, if anyone sees any info on if they did or didn't pay the one for today for the international bonds, let me know. But I think this is not a good situation, but I really don't like what the media is doing in sense of trying to compare and be like, this is Lehman Brothers, this is long-term capital. They love to, this isn't good. And I'm not trying to sugarcoat and be like, oh, hang on, it is bad. People are going to get burned on the deal. People are going to get screwed over. That is what's happening right now. But I do think it's a little bit extreme to say, oh, this is what's going to cause the world to go belly up again. It's just, when I was reading into it, what you need to know when you see all these comparisons to someone like Lehman Brothers, you have to understand that the world that they're in, one of them, you're talking about a bunch of real estate that's going to get defaulted on. The other one, Lehman Brothers, you're talking about a bunch of financial assets that a ton of people had their finger in the pie that basically took a nosedive straight to zero. So it's just, I don't think it's an apt comparison to talk about those two. You can learn a little bit from both, and there is some overlap, but to say this is Lehman Brothers, I'm not really buying it. Weekly initial jobless claims are declining. So right here, coming in. So this is actually, I have an update. They were predicting 320,000. It came in at 351. So there were more weekly initial jobless claims than expected. The market, I think on that news, not too much of a reaction, a little bit of a bearish reaction. Once again, it came in at 351,000, and we were looking for 320,000 in terms of unemployment, jobless claim filings. Fed decreased its forecast for economic growth, increased its outlook for inflation. We talked about this a lot yesterday. The FOMC meeting minutes. Man, when I was trying to film my update yesterday, that update video, to say FOMC meeting minutes, time over time, I kept fumbling those words. FOMC, it's just too many letters, too many words. I don't know. We're obviously not firing at all syllables here today, but FOMC meeting minutes, we talked all about it. They might start the tapering as in the stopping of purchasing all of these assets, really bonds, treasury bonds, corporate bonds, in November this year. Like, it might start that soon, but they would gradually stop the tapering all the way until mid next year. And the bar for them, where they want the economy to go, for them to actually get interest rates off of absolute zero, the bar they said is much higher. So it might happen next year, but if it did, it would be at the end of 2022. So I strongly believe that interest rates will remain between 0.25% for an entire year at a minimum. So interest rates, different scenario than the tapering. They're going to taper way sooner than they would raise interest rates. So that's what's going on there. And that was one of the uncertainties that people didn't know about the market. They're like, okay, are they going to go dovish, hawkish? Just so you know, you're going to hear these terms dovish and hawkish. Dovish means think low interest rates and they're attempting to bring unemployment down, but that does prompt more of a scenario for inflation, while hawkish is more you're battling inflation and generally you're going to see higher interest rates, but that could have an adverse effect on unemployment. So dovish, hawkish, it's a giant balancing act, but I just want to clarify those terms because if you're talking about the Federal Reserve, there's a good chance that you're hearing that terminology, dovish, hawkish, and just think interest rates, unemployment, and inflation and which one they're trying to battle at the moment. CDC to vote on Pfizer COVID boosters for older, vulnerable Americans. I think they already voted on this, and I think it was approved by the FDA for people who are over 65, that booster shot. Please, someone in chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I got an alert on my Twitter last night that this went through, just so everyone knows what is up. All right, so we did that. I just wanted to quickly talk about BlackBerry just because I got a couple questions on it. The company reported better than expected quarterly earnings with an adjusted gross margin of 65%. BlackBerry reported a loss of 6 cents per share compared to the expected loss of 7 cents per share. So a not as wide, which is good. Revenue came in at 175 million, topping estimates of 164 million. Shares rose more than 7% pre-market. So if you happen to be in BlackBerry, I don't like BlackBerry as a short squeeze candidate, but there is an argument that it's more of like just a legitimate fundamental play. So I like it, but maybe just not for the exact same reason that other people are liking it, but it did beat on earnings. Once again, that's BlackBerry, ticker symbol BB. All right, let's take a quick look at some of the overall market things. S&P 500 still fully looking for this gap fill up to 441. If you're trying to play that, I think one of the smartest ways to play it is not necessarily SPY calls, and I'm just talking about the options market. To benefit off the SPY gap filling, I think it's more reasonable to play volatility puts such as VIX, VXX, UVXY, one of those guys. In terms of the NASDAQ 100, still, this is the indice that tracks more of the tech-heavy, Microsoft, Apple, all those guys. I'm looking for a gap fill up to almost 373. In terms of the Russell 2000, it already gap filled yesterday, but still showing strength. I'm actually looking at 224.5. I'm looking for the Russell 2000 to bounce back up here. So overall, S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, Russell 2000, and the Dow, right now, I do think, judging on pre-market, judging on some of these macroeconomic impacts, and actually just what I'm seeing in the background, a couple of the statistics, I think the edge does go to the bulls. Not an incredible edge. I can't be like, oh, this is clearly going to be an amazing bullish day, but looking how we're opening, I want to see this hold. I mean, all of these are gapping up relative to yesterday's close. I just want to see if it can hold out of the gate, but I am, at least at opening, giving the favor to the bulls. I think they have the edge right now. Let's talk about AMC, GME, and ATER. So AMC, they've already borrowed $750,000 against it. Short interest, 20.47%. This is a hair below the max value ever for AMC. So any of this rhetoric of the shorts are leaving, the shorts are drying up, they can cover like easily within like a minute. It's all false. It's all baloney. It's all balagna, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of shorts betting against AMC, so many that they cannot easily get out if they want to. The short interest, like I said, 20.47%. Shares on loan right now, probably 115 million. Utilization just below 90%. In terms of GME, they've already borrowed $300,000. That's kind of crazy. The short interest taking a sizable jump. We have not been in the 15% territory on GME for a while. Things are cooking in the background with GME. Mark my words, if it keeps trending like this and if they can't beat it below 175, GME is not done. It is not done. I don't care what anyone says. Check out the trends. Look at the data. Hashtag know your data. Something is quietly but definitely brewing in the background of GME right now. Utilization 38.5%. Shares on loan right now at 8 million. Man, we have not seen that number on GME in a while. Whoa there. Old brother. Oh, excuse me. I meant to have ATER up just because so many people were asking me about it yesterday. In fact, so many people asked me about it. I made a standalone video that gives you just like, what is the company, the short interest. I made a video that explains everything you need to know about ATER. It's on that Kohrs Lite channel. Just like I've been having more issues with YouTube. But anyway, ATER short interest 55%, utilization 99.5, shares on loan 14.64 million. It is on the FTD list. It's a lower float stock. It's a low float stock, but it's kind of on the bigger end of a lower float stock, but still lower float. The options chain, not the most extraordinarily built out, but it's definitely built out. It has about a free float, I think around in the realm of 25 million, somewhere give or take a couple million. ATER, strong candidate. Strong candidate for movement today. So yesterday we had this crazy push, obviously the volume volatility with this one. And I made this very clear yesterday and also in the update video. I have no ATER position. It's just more of a capital thing. Like I freed up capital to buy the AMC GME dip. I do like ATER with it. I feel like I miss this ship. And I miss the party, and that's going to happen. But in a certain way, I think it's advantageous because then I feel like I could give you unbiased opinions throughout the day and on the data. And in a certain sense, I like it because like I'm not going to be rooting for one direction or the other. I could just give you an unbiased opinion of like I see this, and this. So in a certain way, I think on this side of the camera, it might be a little bit more beneficial the fact that I don't have money involved in ATER, just to give you more of that like just almost blunt opinion of what's going on at any moment in the day. Obviously, the pre-market not looking the best. It's down 7.6%, but we also know that this thing can move incredibly quickly. And actually, I was looking at this a little bit pre-market. ATR, super low volume right now. This sell-off is a very low volume sell-off, as in there's not much conviction behind it. So with this one, honestly, I would not worry at all about what's going on in the pre-market. I would just wait and see how it opens. What do you think about Sundial? Its short interest is high percent in news and Amazon. Would it be a good large buy? I don't think so. If I were to buy anything in the marinara sector, I like Tilray, or I would just track the entire sector with the MJ ETF. SNDL, as a fundamental business, Tilray, TLRY, is a stronger business. Ortex issued a type 1, 2, and 3 signal now on ATR within 24 hours. It's now hit all 3 signals twice within 14 days. Needless to say, I bought the heck out of the dip. Still risky. Everybody do you, but the potential is insane, in my opinion, not financial advice. So just so you know, Wall Street Viking or anyone using Ortex, type 1, type 2, type 3, that's how they categorize things in the back end. It's not like type 1's better than type 2 is better than type 3 type of a deal. They're just different types. One isn't better, one isn't worse. It's just a categorization thing that they're doing. But yes, I even talked about that in the Artesian update video, was how Ortex was firing off all these signals. So whatever they've seen historically based in the data, they're seeing it again. That is saying that there's some sort of edge in the opportunity of this stuff just going haywire. It's not guaranteed. Just because Ortex has a signal doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but it's saying that there's a statistical edge in favor of the bulls. ILUS, Mr. Speedy Ace. I'm not the biggest fan of really giving any OTC stocks any time because I just know how dangerous they are. And I think sometimes that there's newer people to the community who don't realize that there's different markets out there. And if I sit here and talk about OTC markets, in a certain sense, it gives it a little bit of credibility. And I don't want to give OTC market trading any credibility because I'm very much against trading on the gray market. I think it's crazy dangerous. I think if you think that the normal market isn't regulated to the degree that it should be, I mean, you'll lose your mind if you look into what happens on the OTC market. I look forward to seeing your standalone video, ATR, wishing everyone great health and prosperity. Shout out, Mary. Yeah, it's actually already out here. I could show you it. So for those who maybe just missed the spiel yesterday, running into a couple issues with YouTube and the amount that I upload per day and people getting notified, not getting notified, getting subscribed, unsubscribed. So what I'm trying, and it's just like a test trial. I've had this channel for a little bit, the Kohrs Light backup channel. So I did the normal update right here, Game of Shorts, and then also I did one on the ATER squeeze potential. So just so you know, it's the Kohrs Light channel. This is not a paid channel or anything like that. It's like this channel, it's completely free. If you want to check it out, you could subscribe, turn on your notifications, but there's like, this isn't a money thing or anything like that. It's free. It's just additional free content. The difference is where it lives, because I've just been in this crazy battle with YouTube of like what does get promoted, what doesn't get promoted. So I'm attempting to make it where the videos are getting served to the proper audience that they should get served to. But yes, the ATER video is there, and so is the AMC GME update. So Kohrs Light, it's in the description of the video, or you could just search Kohrs Light. It's just this duck emoji guy, just so everyone knows. So talking about crypto a little bit before the market gets open. Crypto's bouncing. Yesterday morning, I was like, I think this is the dip buy opportunity. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, thus far, it was correct on all of them, even Hex. I didn't do it on Doge, but Doge is also itself moving. I honestly think it has to do with the crypto bounce in general, but I also think it has to do with Adam Aaron and engaging with Elon Musk, and just people are they're searching Doge. They're interested in Doge. So it makes a lot of sense to me, but I'm very, very excited about the current opportunity in crypto. Right here, my crypto methodology is very, very simple. Whenever I see major dips, I buy, and then I'm prepared to hold for many years. Crypto, to me, when I read all these stories of how people become crypto millionaires and just stupid rich off of crypto, it's the people who get in early and then they just hold. So for me, well, based on the linear nature of time, if you believe all that jargon, we're not going to be able to mess with time. Today is the earliest you're going to be able to get into crypto. You can't go back in time, so that's not a function. So the one thing we can control is just getting in at important levels of support and just waiting. So that's what I'm doing. I buy at levels of support, and I plan on waiting for years. All the ones you see on the screen, I'm in it. I'm in Bitcoin, I'm in Ethereum, I'm in Cardano, I'm in Hex, I'm in Dogecoin, I'm in Algorand. I don't like Litecoin. I'm in Litecoin, but that one's not my favorite investment. I'm in VeChain. And the one I bought yesterday, first time I was able to get a sizable position in it, is Solana. Very, very happy with that buy. I was waiting for a moment of weakness and I got in. I think I'm in somewhere in like the 130s right now, but right there, not actively trading it, not actively trading any of these. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to wait. I'm going to stake them. I'm going to do whatever I can to get some money in the more of that short to medium term, staking, interest payments, because I have no plans on touching any of them. It's honestly that simple. All right. We have about 10 minutes to till the market open. What are we doing over here? Let me see. All right. What kind of questions do we have? I have my diary over here. So if there's any requests of what we should look into and all that stuff. Shout out to the Kohrs Light channel. Can't wait to crack open a tasty clip tonight. P.S. The content rules. Thanks, Matt. Shout out, Seth. That's so... Oh, 801. I love it. Super chat of 801. That is absolutely awesome. Do you guys think that... what was the name? Power Drunk or something last night? Like Ruko 2.0? I hope he comes back today. I see a couple people asking about the cost to borrow for AMC. It's around 1.5%. So it's not as high as something like Artesian, which is 155%, but it's still an increase of a normal stock. A lot of cost to borrows for major stocks is going to be sub 1%. So it is trading higher, but not as high as some of these like other oddball ones. Oh, one thing I want to make very, very clear. ATER is not the same trade as AMC and GME. Nothing is the same trade as AMC and GME. ATER is an FTD, short squeeze play. Don't get greedy with it. It's not going to be around many months later the way we see AMC and GME. Maybe it will be, but that's not my prediction. My prediction on ATER is you're going to have some crazy movement. People are going to make money, and then they're just going to move on to the next one. AMC and GME have a a community that is here for this symbolic fight of market transparency and fairness. And I don't think that exact same psychology is following ATR. And that's completely okay. I just don't want anyone to conflate the fact that they're the same trades, because they're not the same trades. AMC and GME is a bet on the current social movement going on. It's like a digital Occupy Wall Street. ATER is just a potential FTD short squeeze play. And it's okay. Hey, we can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. There are different types of trades. I mean, we're talking about the overall market. We're talking about crypto. We could talk about different stocks, but I just don't want anyone to conflate the fact, like, not every trade in the market is some diamond hand thing that you rely on a community to keep the entire trade alive. That's a dangerous thing to conflate in your mind. So I just want to be very, very clear about that. And in a certain sense, for a trader, the way I would handle it and like how I would interpret that, or maybe use that to make a better trade, is the fact that, like, hey, I really need that plan. Like, where would I be happy with profits? Because you could get a squeeze and you could get a lot of money, but it's not necessarily something that I would be like, okay, I'm prepared to hold this to zero if need be. That's not how I would look at ATER or any of these other FTD short squeeze plays. All right, we already have some messages deleted. Some spamming. ATR is selling 66 million worth of stock to pay down debt. I expect it to rip when that news comes out. It's complete. Yeah, I mean, we saw that historically in AMC and GME, that when they announced that the offering is done, the stock tends to shoot up. I'm back, Moon Gang. I missed y'all. It's Fishing Michael. Awesome. The following has grown so much. Shout out. I hope while you were away on your, I assume, just fishing trip, I hope everything went well. Shout out. Proscape Designs is probably how I enunciate your name. You'll always be Fishing Michael. Could you check out SDC on Ortex, and what do you think about it? SDC, I see that a lot of people are talking about it. I just don't fully understand the trade. I don't think it's a good... Okay, if we were to compare SDC to ATER right now in terms of an FTD short squeeze play, ATER is way, way better. SDC, it has some of the numbers it needs. I don't know if it's on the threshold list, so that's kind of a knock against it. I know it's a higher float, so it's not going to be as volatile. Yeah, the shares on loan is 55 million. Utilization high, 97.6%. The short interest is 58%, so it has it there, but it's in certain metrics, it's equivalent to ATER, but in the ones that it's not, ATER is better. Like, I don't see a specific thing behind SDC at all that makes it a better play than ATER. I still think this ends up gap filling back down to 605, and maybe it bases there. And if you're in, I want it to rip. But at a certain point, like, I'm not just going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, every play is an amazing play and you got to get into it because it's all, no, like, SDC compared to some of these other squeeze plays does look a little bit weaker. I had the same commentary on TMC. Do you know how many times I said, I don't like TMC, I don't see it? I mean, folks, it's selling off. I'm getting very, very tired of these people just trying to pump any single stock. It sounds super, super sketchy to me. Over the past week and a half, I've been doing my best at sharing my own opinion that I saw a lot of weakness in TMC. And I just hope, if you're listening right now, that you're not a bag holder. But right now, I have no ATER position. I have no SDC position. I have no TMC position. Really, in the public account, my main positions are just AMC and GME. And then I've been messing around with some future stuff for the overall market. But TMC, I find this one to be particularly frustrating because it seems like it came out of nowhere. I saw a lot of people talking about it, being bullish on it, and they shouldn't have at all. The numbers were never there on TMC. The group following was never there on TMC. The chart was never there. TMC, okay, so we have let's just say we have some sort of star system of rating these. ATER right now, it's like a 4 or 5 star. It's pretty close to having every check mark you need for an FTD short squeeze play. SDC is on the lower end. Like, I would say it's sub that halfway point, like below 2.5 stars. Same thing. And it could change. I just want to see that gap fill first, and then maybe it's going to get a bit stronger. But if I were to put TMC somewhere on the spectrum, it was like borderline nothing. Like it had a little bit of potential just because people were talking about it, but that was about it. If you're in it, I hope it bounces back for you. Like I'm not saying this. Like I don't like when anyone listening is like losing money. Like that doesn't make me feel good. But I put blame on some of these people out there who are like, yeah, this is it. And they're trying to compare it to like all these other crazy plays. And it just simply wasn't. It didn't have like any of the metrics that these other types of plays that we're noticing the pattern really need. So I find it frustrating because I found that people were using their clout and their size to talk about TMC when they shouldn't have been. And it ended up going south pretty quickly. If you're in it, I hope it pulls a U-turn for you very, very quickly. I really do. All right. Let's get to the 1 minute on all of these. Are you still getting married this Friday? I'm not getting married this Friday, but I'm hanging out with some of my really, really close friends that I haven't seen in a couple years. One of my best friends from college is getting married. So a lot of the guys in the, like at the wedding, it's kind of like just this meetup. It's kind of just like, I guess maybe the best way to say it is like a supersized bachelor party, but not really. I'm recently being told that it involves whitewater rafting. So that'll be fun because I don't know anything about whitewater rafting. All this put volume recently. Have you ever heard term rope-a-dope to the moon? Rope-a-dope. Muhammad Ali. I believe he's the fighter who kind of popularized that fighting style. I heard he's marrying Riley Reid. Punch drunk is a common saying. It refers to being punched in the head till you seem drunk. Also, finna hit a lick is common. I got arrested for it. Oh my. Guy, is that true? I hope not. I hope everything's going well for you, Guy. Had a baby boy. 9.3 BST this morning. Welcome, baby ape. Shout out Chris. I don't know. I'm going to butcher Loic Nicholas Woodward. With a fancy eye. Chris, whatever it is, this is a sick name. Congratulations to you. I hope your wife is happy, healthy. I hope the baby is happy, healthy. Hey, we always need more space apes in this world, but enjoy the day, man. I can only imagine how special of a day this could be for you. I hope everyone is happy, healthy, already smiling, and congratulations, man. Seriously, that's so, so exciting. I didn't transfer, but I did purchase AMC shares via computer share. I am scheduled to purchase shares monthly based on monthly deposit. I'm using computer share as long-term decades play. Good plan. If it's a longer term, I think that's very, very reasonable. And I'm not against computer share. I just want people to know that your computer share is not meant for like active trading, getting out at very specific points. It's a little bit slower and it's meant for long-term trading. So if that's your goal, have at it. I mean, he hasn't proposed yet. I wouldn't say no. Shout out Riley Reid. Hey, Math, who would be your anger translator? Who would be my anger translator? Probably, I don't know, maybe like Macho Man or something, or Hulk Hogan. I need an anger translator. I really, really do. In Discord yesterday, someone mentioned Zoom and the gap fill. Thoughts? Zoom. I think it just trades under Z. Nope, that's Zillow. ZM. What is the gap fill on Zoom? So it's at support, which is previous resistance and previous support. Right now, the price level it's at, it is a good risk reward setup. As in, if it falls a little bit more, you could just cut it for a baby loss. Or if you're right and it swings back up, that gap fill up to 340. So I do like it from a technical perspective. I like it. But also what we found out in the Discord yesterday is that Zoom, in terms of video conferencing, just referring to some of the people in the Discord, I was informed that they have a lot more security issues and security breaches than other video conferencing. So that might be something to consider. You have to ask yourself, are you in Zoom for a long-term investment or are you in it for like a quick swing trade looking for a gap fill? All of them are viable. It's just you have to know what your own plan is. Happy Diablo 2 Day, greatest game of all time. Finna hit a lick means you're going to rob someone and come up with ease. Be your own anger translator. Shout out, Luke. All right. We are about to get rocking today. We have about 20 seconds till market open. Let's get going, folks. Let's get going. Oaken Water Magic becoming a space ape. Ding, ding, ding. The casino is open. Let's get going, folks. Another fun day on the interwebs. Watching all these numbers on the screen, acting as if we're not going crazy. Let's get after it. AMC, just so you know, for all the people who are exclusively listening, we are at 41. AMC coming out of the gate at 41. GME coming out of the gate at 192. So let's see how this all starts to really pan out. Thanks. Amazing you are getting married and your B-day this weekend. Shout out, Rob. What's going on, man? What is going on? All right. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Bagged him and tagged him. Locked in just a nice 250 on some of my SPY. So remember, I like to scale out. So I had that position on the dip. And as the SPY's coming back around in the future, like this is relating to my futures account, I lock some in and I'm letting the rest pretty much ride to see if we get that gap fill up to 441. Hey, I like it. 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 Where are we at? How are we going today, Mr. Market? All right, AMC. 4150 was a level I've been paying attention to, and that's where we're at right now, just so everyone knows. We're getting this swing back around. So if you were to look at these fractals right here, you're seeing these relative highs with the green triangle on top, and then you could see the relative lows, and these relative lows arguably are sometimes good places to get in. Look at from here, it bounces from here, it bounces here, it bounces. It's just a bunch of relative lows, and you can see the trend in these highs and the lows. So recently we have a newer, lower relative low. So that suggests something about the trend, but now we might be breaking out of it. And I would love to see, well, I know there's things we need to take out in the meantime, but I'm very, very much interested in this 4150 level today. And after that, we're looking at this gap fill up to 4420 in the short term, in terms of short-term targets and all that good jazz. All right, people are talking about ATR. How's that doing? It's down right now, but it's already fighting back. We know that this thing is very whippy. Very, very whippy. Hey, Martin, have you seen Jimmy's rants? Yeah, Jim Cramer is losing his mind, folks. He's did I spill coffee on myself again? Not as much this time. Why do I do this? Sometimes I think I'm the problem, you know? I look in the mirror and I'm like, you have no one to blame but yourself, Matthew. That's how I feel about it. And I just, more coffee, frustrating. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I've had to do so much laundry, like way earlier than I wanted to, just because I have coffee stains all over my clothes. Is this what happens? Like, is this what happened to Kramer and how he got to where he is? Like, just decades and decades of spilling coffee on himself. And like, now we're just seeing his mental demise. Could be. AMC at 41. We're watching that 4150 level. ATER, it's sold off and now it's trying to fight back. I would watch 1430. That also just seems to be a level it was somewhat like messing around with yesterday. GME flexing right now. GME, low volume, but flexing nonetheless. It's at 195.30. There is a little bit of a hiccup, most likely coming at 198.50, but really I care about that magnet at the $200 level. How is crypto opening? Crypto's green. Hex is pushing, man. I am loving Hex. Ethereum pushing big. Like, I'm just loving crypto. That simple. It's that simple. I just like crypto. I just like this currency. Is it chasing to get into ATR right now? Thanks for the not financial advice. Actually, no. I would argue that you're buying on a dip, and it depends the time frame that you do or don't want to be involved. But if you're okay with risking 13, like if you're okay with $1.50 risk, I mean, have at it. But that's what I would risk, is I would risk the day's low and see how it behaves from there. It's all, when you talk about chasing, it depends on your time frame, and really what that means is it depends on how far away are you from your risk. If you're very far away from your risk, I would then argue that you're chasing. You don't want to be super far away from your risk, but super far, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. Like if you're okay, to some people out there, risking $1 per share is a lot. To other people, it's absolutely nothing. So it's dependent on your account, where your account's at, what your account is or isn't doing. All right, SPY, what are you doing here? What are we doing? We're seeing some strength. We're seeing some flexing. AMC fighting back. It looks like thus far we've double tapped 41.50. Above 41.50, especially if we get some nice volume above that. Oh, man. I'm still looking at that gap fill, 44.20 in the short term. That's what I am personally watching, targeting, looking for to play out in, well, I guess at this point, what is it? It's already Thursday, so maybe early next week, maybe. You never know. You never know with these types of things. All right, what is the SPY doing? Is this going to push? Is this going to push? All right. I like the opening thus far. What do we need? What do we need to hit today for you to do a shoey? I'm afraid to answer that because I don't know what a shoey is. All right, AMC, we're watching this right now. It is above 41.50. It's all, can it hold it above 41.50 now? AMC is my savings account. Banks are my checking. I tell my friends I don't give financial advice. Shout out Luke B. SKLZ, what's going on, Mary? What's going on with SKLZ? SKLZ skills. So strong day yesterday, and it looks like it's getting a nice continuation today. I would be watching $12, see how it reacts to that. And then I would be watching 13. So that's actually pretty easy to remember. SKLZ finally bending back around. It did make a higher relative low compared to mid-August. And now I just want to see really what's going to be happening with it. I think it's going at 12, and I would just want to see the reaction to 12. AMC pushing right now, making that run hopefully to 42. It's currently at 41.60, but we're seeing some buyers. We're also seeing buyers in the overall market. How's IWM looking? IWM also pushing. So we're seeing just green. We're seeing money flow into the market. Obviously, that is a good sign. A good sign. A good sign. All right, SPY, flexing. I like it. Hey, Matt, and all apes, buckle up. The rocket is ready. Shout out Camille. Good morning, Matt. Can you take a look at MMAT? Of course, MMAT currently trading at 540, showing strength right there. Look at this. Okay, this is nice. So it shoots up. We have from September 3rd until about the 21st, a slight bear trend. We're hitting the exact same low, but we're getting lower highs, as in the sellers are getting more aggressive. But look at this, between today and yesterday, we're breaking out. This break of 520, that's that's a good deal. And now you're almost watching, can it rip above 560? If it does, I think MMAT can keep pushing. Just so everyone knows, I have no MMAT position, but I love that it's breaking out of this wedge in a very bullish manner. That is awesome. So congrats if you're in it. It's looking promising right now. And if you're not yet in it, and if you're like, okay, well, what would the risk reward setup be? Personally, I would be risking 475. So if you're okay with risking 65 cents, hey, that's your risk point. And with it, and I think it's important the way this community is developing, I need everyone right when they're looking at trades. Don't ask yourself, be like, if you saw the MMAT chart, which is looking bullish, your first thing shouldn't be like, whoa, it could go to 640, I can make $1, or maybe it's going to rip in even more. Your first question be like, how much do I have to risk to be in this play? Always ask yourself, if it goes south, how bad can it actually get? That should be your first question. Your second question should be like, okay, well, like, what's the reward of the potential situation, or the potential reward of the current situation, I should say. So I would argue that that's like a better way to like think about all of this stuff. Matt, if we finish above 45, I'll buy you a box of frozen peas so you can enjoy their true potential. Shout out Peter Smith. Don't be so kind on my account. Oh man. AMC having a great day, currently up 4%. GME having a great day, up 2%. S&P 500 having a good day, almost up already 1%. Impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. SPY pushing. All right, what's the flow we're already seeing this morning? AMC bullish, 56 versus 44. That's on AMC. In terms of GME, we are looking at 62 versus 38, pretty bullish. ATER, a little bullish, 52 to 48. Let's check out the overall market. What are we seeing there? 53 to 47. So bulls are dominating, at least in the ones that we checked already out today. The bulls are dominating the market in terms of the options flow. All right. We are good. All set up. I like this push in the SPY. Had a very nice push. Oh, did it gap fill? Did it ding, ding, ding? Did it hit my gap fill? Yes, it did. The gap fill was at 441 and 2 cents, and we're now 36 cents above that. So we can get rid of this. The SPY gap filled. I liked it. I love these gap fill plays. I find them to be very easy to notice, very easy to trade, and pretty easy to profit on. The Qs, so the Russell 2000 gap filled yesterday. The SPY gap filled today. So the last major one I would argue is the NASDAQ 100 QQQ gap filling up to 372 and 76 cents. Still looking for that. So about $1 more to go. And I still do believe that it will gap fill. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I think sooner rather than later, we will see that gap fill. All right. AMC getting smacked at 41.85 for right now. Kind of a strange level, but let's see how this all plays out. These are just some intraday levels. Support at 41.20, resistance at 41.85. GME getting smacked at 195.75. Interesting. I thought it was going to go at least up to 198, but let's see how this all really does end up panning out. Mr. Matt, do you think LAC is good for a long-term hold? So I don't know an immense about like lithium mining and the business related to lithium mining, but I do know there's a huge lithium shortage, and it seems like LAC is one of the people or one of the companies that is positioned to profit off of it. All right. Why is MRM ripping? MRM. Healthcare technologies, it's up 132%. I would assume that is this the news? Announces acquisitions of ZACC, Z-A-C-C. They're acquiring someone. And I guess the market really likes who they're acquiring. Can you comment on how the shorts will be able to cover the preferred dividend shares from TRCH to MMAT merger, not financial? Maybe I'm misunderstanding the question. Can you comment on how the shorts will be able to cover the preferred dividend shares from TRCH? So when you're short against a stock and there's a dividend payment, the short actually has to pay that dividend payment. So is that what you're referring to? Of just like how they'll be able to? Well, they just have to have, they have the legal responsibility that if you're short and there's a dividend payment that they would have to pay that. I think that's what it is. If I'm misinterpreting your question, Brian, feel free just to tag a mod in chat and they can get it to me. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Oh, man. 714 bought UPST 250 calls at 470 for 121.21. More upside and ride the trend or fold a winning hand. Thoughts, not financial advice. UPST. This stock has just been ripping. I mean, every earnings announcement, this thing just keeps going. So in trading, and you're going to hear this a lot from different books and trading gurus, but it is very true. You cut your losers as quickly as possible and you let your winners ride. Right now, the trend's not stopping. So ride the trend. The trend is your friend. With this, just keep riding it. And if it starts to show some weakness, well, then that's when you would lock it in. But for right now, I see no reason to get out. The market in general is turning back around. And this stock specifically, it seems like all it does is just go up, and up. So I would continue to ride that trend if I were you. I have no UPST position, so I'm trying to be unbiased, but like it truly is a beautiful looking chart. Like this thing has just never not gone. Like it just keeps ripping. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Congrats. That's an awesome trade. I hope you are annihilating it. I hope your tendies are juicy. How's ATER doing? ATER getting crushed right now. But let's see if it bases. We know that this thing can move $3. Like it's absolutely nothing. Just wait for look for maybe the MACD to start crossing back over. GME fighting its way back up to probably 196. AMC definitely fighting its way up to its intraday high. I think it'll be touching 41.85 pretty soon. What's going on with my futures didn't cover yet. Oh, I just didn't get my fill. I was off by just a little bit. All right, I just need the SPY to push a little bit more, and then my futures will be completely locked in, those tendies. Very, very quick trade, just playing the gap fill. My one runner just didn't lock itself in. Most of the positions already locked in because, like I said, I was just looking for that gap fill play. And honestly, oops, sorry, I did not mean to do that. Honestly, I think if the final opportunity might be in the NASDAQ gap fill. So I actually almost want this to lock in very quickly just so I can continue to play the Qs. The Qs. Oh, it's getting super close. There's only like 50 cents left. It might not even be worth it at this point. Aw, shucks. Hey, sometimes that's just how life goes. Sometimes you just don't have the capital to be in every play you want to be in. ATER gap fill complete. Shout out Wall Street Viking. I don't even want to look at Qs. I mean, if you're playing the gap fill in the Qs, I think that's a good trade. Congrats. I missed it. ATR announced a share dilution. How convenient. Yeah. So there's a good chance. I guess I haven't really spoken about this. ATR down today, share dilution. They're increasing the float. They're just adding more supply and they're raising money because that's what a company does. When your stock goes crazy, it's smart as a business person to capitalize on that by doing a share dilution. Because trust me, as someone who's owning and operating a company like the CEO of ATR, they care much more about the company and the longevity of the company. That's what they're tasked to do. That's their literal job. So if they see a unique opportunity where they can raise money and improve the fundamentals of the company with the extra cash injection, they're going to do so. We've seen this before in AMC and GME. the announcement of the share dilution drives the stock down, then it kind of bases and does nothing, and then they announce that they're like, hey, we completed the share dilution, and on that news it ends up like spiking. So if you're in ATER, first of all, don't play any close expirations. I mean, this one you don't have to worry about it because the closest one are the October monthlies. But as more and more people are interested in ATR, there's a good chance that market makers fill out the options market by adding additional expiration dates and strike prices. So with it, just understand what's going on. You have to dive into the news about the dilution and understand that with AMC and GME, when we've seen this previously, it hurts the stock, it bases, and then they announce that it's done, and the stock ends up on that news having a nice positive reaction. So if you're paying attention to ATER, you're going to want to be looking at the volume, understand how many shares they're trying to dilute, and like come up with an idea, be like, okay, do we think that they sold all of them? Is the announcement coming soon? And that's a bit of a guessing game, but that's the game you're in on ATER at the moment in time. Did the Qs gap fill yet? 72. Is it worthwhile to play the Qs? Is it worthwhile? How much? What is the risk? What is the reward? Am I going to heed my own advice? I'm just going to do this gap fill really quick. Just see. I'm just looking for, what is it? 372.76. What did we hit? 63. Just waiting. I'm waiting for that extra 10 cents. In the stock market, this probably wouldn't be worth it in terms of you have to get in. It's expensive. It's $372 to buy one of these ETFs. And then just to do it very quickly for 50 cents, probably not worth the risk reward. But in the options market, that little movement could be a couple $100. Futures market is one of the most leveraged markets out there. It's incredibly leveraged. So I just want, like, it's not the exact same thing. A 50-cent move, a dollar move in the SPY, the Qs, the Russell 2000, the way it's leveraged in the futures market, it could be a substantial amount of money for even a single contract. It's actually kind of crazy how much leverage that happens. All right, what kind of questions do we have rocking today? Studies. I'll have to figure that out later. Thoughts on GOEV? GOEV. Canoe. Intraday chart, interesting. It shoots up. It had a nice base off of 722, fighting back. Watch the resistance at 750, and then obviously 780. The day is a nice. This is strong. I mean, it broke the support, turned into resistance at 7. It's fighting back up. I would maybe watch for a hiccup at 760, but I would mainly be watching $8 on it. In terms of technicals, I'm not too up to date on the fundamentals of this company and like what direction it is or isn't heading. $8, but it's just showing strength. It was in this bear trend. It looks like it's trying to, in the short term, like basically for the month of September, it was selling off, and it looks like now it's fighting back against that. So if you're in it, I have no position, but I do see some strength here. I'd like to dedicate this chat to Robinhood and Vlad. Without them, I wouldn't have found Matt in this community and like this bill, and I'd still be oblivious to the market. Shout out all Boogie. Just another Bulgarian boy. Can I get tech on BB? So BB, just so everyone knows, if you're in it, crushed its earnings, had a very, very good earnings announcement, discussion, all that good stuff. Very, very solid, to the point now that it actually gapped up, and now we have a double gap. It gapped down and then it gapped up. So you have this very weird gap between 992 and 977. Interesting, but showing some strength. So I'd be a little bit worried about the gap below it because I think that one day it would want to fill that gap. But as of today, I mean, it's sitting at resistance. If it keeps cruising, I would watch 11 where it was previously rejected and we have some support. And after that, I'd watch 12. So that one's easy to remember. It's just 11 and 12 and just be worried about the gap below it is what I would be paying attention to. AMC getting smacked at 41.85 on the second test. It only got to 41.80. And right now it was trying to hold on to 41.20, but we have some sellers stepping in. Are they shorts or what's going on? Could be. The net borrow is already 1.3 million and we're only 25 minutes into the day they borrowed 1.35. Short interest, this might be a max value. It is. AMC is currently at a max value short interest, 20.6% estimated, of course. Interesting. All right. I'm just waiting for this to complete its gap fill. 42.76. We have about 30 cents to go. Right there. Right there. Looking a little bit lethargic. All right, so the major indices all shot up, but you can almost see how they're looking a little bit tired. I wonder if they're going to have enough gusto in them to continue higher, especially the Qs. I'm just watching for the Qs to push this gap fill, and then I'll be happy. I'll be satisfied. All the indices gap fill with it. And if anyone wants to dive more into the explanation, because I think it is a very good explanation, the way to play these gap fills was not through calls. It was very much through volatility puts. And that just has to go with options pricing and how they get their pricing, and really people underestimating how much volatility has an impact on the value of a premium. Yes, you need the direction of the asset to go in your favor, but you should also very much care about what is or isn't happening with the volatility of the underlying asset. So for example, as the SPY goes up, you might have bet on that with a call, but remember, as it goes up, that means its volatility is inherently selling off. So you have for you to be right, you're almost contradicting yourself, because you're like, yeah, I want it to go up, but for it to go up, that means the volatility has to drop. And that's why it becomes a very complex bet. And that's why I think it's almost easier to just, if you think it's going to go up after a sell-off in the overall market, it's probably easier to take a bet on volatility dying off through volatility puts if you are an options trader. How close are we? We are a couple cents away. Ding, 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 dingity, ding, 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 dingity, ding, 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 ding. All of them just gap filled. The indices gap filled. I'm out. I got my tendies, locked it in. On the futures, we're done with that. Sweet. I'm happy. The market still pushing on it. It could keep going. I'm just saying, me being a technical trader, sometimes I just see obvious plays like that. I'm like, oh, I could just play this gap fill and make a couple shekels. Make a couple shekels to pay off my Sangria Cheez-It bill. You guys know how it is. What's ATR doing? See a lot of people talking about that right now. Coming back, fighting back. Watch. ATER. Why is this not? 1375, 1470 is what we're watching. This is fighting back. Look for this test. If it reacts well, then watch 1470. AMC also getting its bounce, recapturing 4120. The battle, though, is 4150. That was the high from 2 trading days ago. So we're watching 4150 above it. The longer it stays above it, the more realistic the fill up to 4420 is on AMC. For GME, we're at 194. I would love to see a retest of the intraday high at 195.75. Up 3,200 today on a 13 chance limit buy ATR at open. Pattern precision reloading. Just a heads up, if you didn't know, Gensler's recommendation to Congress regarding AMC and GME and paid order flow should get released today. Not sure of market impact. Go Birds. If you're referring to the report, and I'm only saying that because he called it a report, to me, it sounds I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. But when he was asked about it, he's like, yeah, the GameStop report, like he quoted it himself, which leads me to believe that it's more of like, I don't know, like a fluff piece of sorts. They're going to be like, yeah, we like looked into this and that. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath on it revealing some like big bombshell information. I would like it. Obviously, I want it to, but it's just like his demeanor and the commentary we have about it. It just, I don't know. It leaves a little bit to be desired. Matthew, is that your legal name or Matt? Like everything about BNYD, short percent trading, easy stock to scalp. Thoughts on the channel it's in. Matthew, is that your legal name? Yeah, my like actual name is Matthew. Very biblical. Which is funny because my parents are not that biblical of people. But I don't know. I think it's just shorter. People like to just go by the shorter name. What's funny is my mom, I don't think I've ever heard my mom call me Matt, like in my life. Everyone calls me Matt except for my mom, always Matthew. And at one point I had this like 2-year-old neighbor growing up who he always called me Matthew. But maybe that's because his name was Elijah. Maybe he didn't know it, but that's also very biblical. So he's like, oh, biblical name. I have a biblical name. You have a biblical name. And a lot of you are arguing, be like, that would be a really weird thought process for a 2-year-old. But I don't know. I don't know what goes on in a 2-year-old's head. Beyond me. I mean, it's definitely in this channel. So you're just, if I were you, I would just look for the channel break as if you like it. The risk is a little wide at 104. So just pay attention to the most recent low. And that's what I would risk. But you're just looking for the breakout. And so I would just be patient and set an alert on this trend line. That's how I would play it. They all shorted your name, David. Very good point. ETRN. I bought calls February at 691, expiring January 20th, strike 750. I'm plus money, but I think data is not there to keep holding. What's your opinion? ETRN. I actually see strength in this. I see a cup and handle. Cup, handle, a gap filled. I would want to see how... I mean, you have a lot of time, so I would want to see a test and see if maybe you could get lucky and it breaks out above 980 is probably what I would be paying attention to with it. Why is this not loading? Am I frozen? I don't think so. Testing. Oh, testing. Testing. But yeah, I see strength in this. How's ATR doing right now? ATER. Let's pull up the minute chart on this guy. So right now we have lower highs, lower lows. Let's look for a break of that trend. I guess you could watch 1350 or now between 1350 and 1375 on ATER. AMC holding up above 4120. I like that, but I would prefer to see this above 4150. So we're watching that closely. GME is at 193. Low volume day on GME right now. It's traded 300,000. Where are we going? All right, the Q's continuing to push. ATER looking for a bid. How's the SPY looking? SPY's looking strong. IWM not looking as strong, but the Q's and the SPY both looking strong. So the tech sector and the overall market looking strong. Small caps strong, just not as strong on a relative basis, but small caps kind of flexing their way. I would like to see this continue upward. On the Russell 2000, aka IWM, I'm looking for 224.5 for that particular indice. The Q still pushing. What else? I don't know what goes on in 2-year-old's head, Matt. Was never 2-year-old. Confirmed. Confirmed. What else do we have going on? Damn, son, wrong channel. My bad. Good morning, Duck Lord. Wait, what? IRNT. What's going on with that one? Shout out Mattery. IRNT. Looking a bit weak, but it did bounce off of support. I would be watching $26. If it drops below 26, I think there'll be a quick flush to 24. But if it bounces, you're looking for a green day. Hopefully it getting above 32 is the push I would be looking for in IRNT. So you're very much looking for this to hold on to whatever this low is. What is this low? The low 26s. It says 26.18. So let's just call it 26 flat. You're looking for IRNT to have that support without a doubt. Yesterday, no one knew about Neuro, and I felt like it may have a fake up. Got in at 10:40 and out at 12:05. Wish I would have held through the SPY gap fill. How's Neuro looking? Neuro for a bit was on that FTD threshold list, but I don't like when these things gap up and sell off. To me, it looks like Neuro's going to gap fill back down to 13. I shouldn't have talked about Neuro and psyched myself out. Hey, I mean, you still made, it's a winning trade. A winning trade's a winning trade. You stuck to your plan, and now you have a little bit more info of maybe how to optimize the next one. I see nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with that whatsoever. All right. What else do we have going on? What else? Shout out. Thanks, Matt. Mattery. Landaset. Chief Pew Pew. Oh, the fish one. A shoey is chugging a beer from your shoe. Oh, I thought that was... Why am I just picturing the whole like boot and rally thing? Is it... Oh, I think that's when people like vomit in their shoe. What like American Pie is that from? Whatever it is. Probably not a good one. A friend of mine asked me to look into Naked and just wanted your thoughts. So I am not a fan of Naked. I think a lot of people trying to push this as if it's some sort of like the chart sucks. It doesn't, it's incapable of making a new relative high. It just is selling off. It pushes, it comes down. It pushes not as high, comes down. Maybe one of these days it will like change trend. And if you're in it, I hope it does. But NAKD, so way back when we were all not battle tested apes back in January, February, because people saw what was happening with GameStop, there was a bunch of sympathy plays. So basically people were buying any highly shorted stock and that stock would go up. And that's exactly what happened in NAKD, and it happened in a lot of other stocks as well. But NAKD, it was being shorted for a very specific reason, and that specific reason was it was like a very much a failing business. Like they just had to get rid of all of their like their brick and mortar stores and switch over to e-commerce. It was a company that was going down the drain, and that's why it had a high short interest. And the only reason people are talking about it now is because it had nice action back in January, February. But that was more because of the time we're in. I don't see people getting back behind NAKD and supporting it once again. I just don't see it. Maybe they will. Maybe my analysis of it is completely wrong. But it's also a penny stock. There's just various things going against NAKD that make me not really want to mess with it. I think there's better opportunity in the market. Better opportunity. GME at 193, AMC at 41. How's ATER doing? 1180. This dilution, the news of the share dilution is not being received well. I would currently be watching this flag on ATER. Hopefully it can stop this pattern of lower lows and bend back around and break and then test 1375. What are we at here? AMC, what's going on with AMC? Just made a new intraday low just below 41. They still have that borrowed of 1.35 million shares, short interest 20.6%. Am I missing something in the flow on AMC? The flow, it's pretty much 50-50 with the slight edge to the AMC bulls in the options market. It's the same with GME. GME actually has more. Whoa. GME is 58.5% bullish premium. Wow. Wow. Huh. I feel like I'm just missing something in the sell-off here on AMC. I feel like, I mean, IWM, it's up 0.96%. I guess AMC, it is up 0.3% because we did gap up. So maybe it's just trying to test yesterday's close, which was 40.10. That would be kind of a weird goal to have though, because it's not necessarily like a gap fill or anything like that. It doesn't like have to do it. Interesting. All right, GME also showing a bit of weakness. Let's see if this can bounce off of 192.50. RNAZ. That's looking good. Another therapeutics one. So with this one, it's up quite a bit. It's up 56%. So what was it trading at, like $3 yesterday? Some sort of announcement, I would assume, like maybe a successful test, a successful like FDA message or something like that. A lot of these biotech, health technology sector, these end up moving just because of some sort of binary event announcement, as in a good test or a drug approval, or they acquired a new drug or something along those lines. I've found that in these pharma plays, if you're not in it before the big move, it's dangerous to chase a big move in the pharma world. It's honestly dangerous to chase a big move in any of this, like the stock market world. But I've noticed with pharma, like the news, it gets out there very quickly and people make the money, and sometimes it runs out of gas. But hey, if you like the momentum and if you think it's going to carry it through, like, I do wish you the best of luck. I'm just not the biggest fan of pharma. And I shouldn't say not fan as in I dislike it. I just don't know enough about it. That's not where my expertise are. Like, I know a lot more about the tech sector and what's happening there and what those companies do and what their opportunity represents. I don't have like a biology, medical, like that type of a background. Matt, I have AMC. What does div yield mean? Dividend, like some stocks have dividend payments. AMC does not have a dividend payment, and they've talked about it, that they don't really have plans in the short term. Like Adam Aaron has said this, that they don't have plans in the short term to reinstitute a dividend payment. Hey, Mork, GME $1 strike calls for 10.15. See Unusual Whales tweet about that. Thoughts? No, I didn't. Let me check this out. Unusual Whales. BB stocks. So Unusual Whales is actually talking about the RNAZ thing. Seven House lawmakers have failed to report stock trades, a violation of congressional rules. 5 of them sit on the Financial Services Committee. Example, Democratic Republican Tom Suzo failed to file required reports on 300 transactions. What a scumbag. Something truly unusual is happening with GME. Take a look. Today, someone grabbed $1 calls on GME for 10.15. They did it multiple times. Seeing something this deep in the money is weird. Seeing it weeks out, weirder. Seeing it on GME, weirdest. That's true. That is very, very strange. So, you'd almost have to see if they hit the buy side or the sell side to understand if it's bullish or bearish. But why? Some of them were bullish and bearish, like just money exchanging at the $1 strike on GME. Very, very strange. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of mechanism in the back end where they're somehow using that to, I suppose, like cover up a position. Or so when you're talking about very deep in the money or very deep out of the money calls and puts, it does get into the realm of, like, I guess maybe a little tinfoil hatty, but there is a way you can hide very serious positions and where it's not an FTD and you're like, no, look, I did deliver on it. I did have it. I have it through these options, so I'm good. My spidey senses get tingling when I start to see very weird action occurring, especially in AMC and GME, deep in, like, I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's a bit tinfoil hatty, but when I see serious size and money and flow in extreme values on AMC and GME, it definitely gets me itching my head thinking that someone's trying to cover up something. What are the support levels on this thing? Damn, this thing is whippy. Hit 18 after hours yesterday. Are you talking about ATER? I think maybe. I don't know what stock I think you're referring to ATER. I would say support is at 12. Resistance, hopefully turning into support right now. So I would say 12, and you're looking for a recapture of 1375. All right, where are we at? Let me drop to the 3 minute, the 3 minute, the 3 minute. And the 3 minute. All right, I think we're all good on there. I think I'm caught up. Did I miss any questions? Sounds like a good question for Mr. Lauer. Yes. So I've actually, with that one, the specific options thing, it's kind of weird because you need someone who has a deep understanding of options, but then also regulation. And like, you almost need someone who's, I can't even say jack in all trades. You almost need someone who has like mastering different levels of the market to like really drive that home. And I've been seeing some very, very interesting Reddit threads on it. And it's kind of weird with Reddit. I mean, there's certain times that it's absolutely awesome. And I see things that are like spot on written by experts. And then other times I just see like hardcore tinfoil hat theories that is disproven with like one Google search or just like a little bit of thought. And then if you disagree with it, they're like, you're not an ape. It's like, no, like just some theories are very good and some theories are not so good. The artsy cart. Listen, buddy, I'm good for it. I've got those AMC stocks you need. Come in the back and I'll show you in the dark pools. You don't need a swimsuit. You will just need your shorts. Shout out the artsy cart. Thoughts on Draftkings? I like Draftkings. I really do. I'm very, very bullish on the online sports gambling world. Like that, just that sector. I think it's at solid support. The closer to 50 it is, I think it becomes a more interesting investment opportunity. I like Draftkings in the long term. I like Penn National Gaming in the long term. I'm just very bullish on online gambling. I think as more and more states legalize it, we're going to get to the point where it's legalized in all 50 states. And then these companies that already have like name recognition, Draftkings, FanDuel, Penn National Gaming through Barstool Sports, I think they're all going to do exceedingly well. I do. And with this one, I mean, this might be a dip right here. It's been selling. How is Penn doing? Penn's doing a little bit better. I'd look for Penn to break out of 77.50. Penn actually gets very interesting if it recaptures 86. If Penn recaptures 86, it might be slowly but surely making a fight back up to 140. So on Penn, I would be closely watching that 86 level. TMC, I'm not a fan of TMC. I don't know. I've been, for days now, for a week and a half, I've been trying to exercise caution. And anyone who's speaking bullish on it, I don't see the thesis. I never saw the thesis. Some people got mad at me for it, but I'm not. Why would I sit here and lie to anyone? If I'm not going to sit here just because people like a stock, just because social media likes a stock. If I don't agree with it, I'm going to let you know. And I hope more people like at least understood the caution I was trying to express about TMC, because sometimes you get into situations like this. And I just fear like when people were really starting to push it around the $12 mark, I think it produced quite a few bag holders that are currently down 50%. And it makes me mad. I do. Does Matt love orange soda? I do. Shout out Mighty Mong. Hex is on a massive run to $1 and the Netflix promo for Richard looks good. Did Bitcoin get hacked today? I don't know. I didn't hear that Bitcoin got hacked, but I'm in Hex. I've been talking about Hex. I got into Hex at like around 10 cents, 8 cents, something like that. And then I got in again at 38 cents. I doubled up my initial position, and given enough time, I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but I do think Hex eventually hits $1 and maybe even then some. To me, out of all the crypto projects, Hex just makes a lot of sense. I very much understand what a CD is, a certificate of deposit at a bank. That's been something that's been around for hundreds of years. Do you know how long banks have been doing certificates of deposit, CDs? And then Richard Hart, he literally just like, oh, I'll put that on the blockchain and let people do it digitally. Like, to me, that's just so easy to understand. Like I don't know, some of these other projects, it feels like you have to have some PhD in some STEM field to like really understand what they're going for. To me, what I think is cool about Hex is I think the community's fun. All the Hexicans, if you're a Hexican out there, welcome. I think they're funny on Twitter. I like the Hex Flex thing. But more than that, it's just the dude took a very multi-100-year successful financial product, certificates of deposit, and he's like, hey, I'm going to throw that on a blockchain. I was like, oh, that, like, it just makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Hex does not have a high supply. So that's one of the biggest issues with Hex is you can't easily get it. You can't get it on Voyager. You definitely can't get it on Robinhood or Webull. You can't get it on like Coinbase or Gemini. The way I got it was through MetaMask. So I took some Ethereum and I sent Ethereum to my MetaMask and then I swapped it. Let me know. You could DM me or you can let me know in a chat right now. If you guys want a video, like a super short video of me saying, oh, hey, this is how you get Hex. I could put that on the Kohrs Lite channel if you want that. Like, folks, I love making videos that I know is like directly gonna, like, some of my favorite videos are when I see a lot of people requesting it. Like, Matt, can you make this video, this video, this video? I like that because I feel like I'm like, oh, okay, this is exactly what my community wants. Like, I'm doing this really, like, I love doing this for you. I'm trying to educate on the things that I have a little bit of knowledge on and just share that knowledge. So if you have an idea of anything, Matt, I want to know more about like strangles in the options market. I want to know about Hex. I want to know about how you kill zombies on Call of Duty. Seriously, if you have a question about something and if I see enough people asking that question, I will make a video on that easily, happily. I love to do that stuff. Make a video of you rapping, only if you want to, like, for your ears to hurt. I can make a video on rapping. Cash App BTC to Bitmark, bam, you can buy Hex. So that's the same thing where you're just like switching it, I guess, over. I found it easier just to swap it on MetaMask because MetaMask is a highly respected like wallet. I like MetaMask. Trust Wallet's another one. I don't know if you can swap it on Trust Wallet though. Curious if ATR still fits all your criteria for a short squeeze with the dilution announcements. Do you think the price will just keep falling? So it still does. Like, my criteria on that was not a dilution thing. With it, I would argue it's going to be very similar to AMC and GME, where the announcement and the actual dilution hurts the stock. It ends up basing, they announce that the dilution has been completed, and then the stock rips on that news. So right now on ATER, you're waiting in the back end for that to be announced. You're waiting for them to finish the dilution. Whenever a stock gets a little bit haywire, if the shares are available and are authorized, you always have to consider dilution because the people running the company, they're just trying to increase their own war chest. Like, they need the money. Whoa, GME is looking pretty hot right now. 193 up to 195 on a nice little volatility pop. But anyway, for ATER, that's always a risk. But I mean, there's always going to be some sort of inherent risk to any stock in the market or ETF or anything you talk about. And right now, ATER, one of its is the dilution. So you have to be patient and wait for this dilution to end. And when that headline comes out, Ethereum completes share dilution, look for the stock to go green on that news. No dilution until November 1st. But folks, it's the announcement of the fact that they're going to dilute. Like, people, as soon as the news comes out, and this is like a weird part about the market, is it's just that news that they're going to do it. And with that news, like, they don't wait till November 1st and they're like, oh, okay, we're going to trade on it like that. The market, as soon as it hears it, I mean, for example, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I'm saying what impacts the stock is just those headlines. For you, like, we're diving into that information, and I get that you're saying it doesn't happen until November 1st. But think about it this way. When AMC was just considering it, when they were like, oh, we're going to have this up for a proposal vote, think about what the headlines were. Like, that's how they're scaring people. So, like, some of these times, that's how a stock is driven, is by the perception of just what these headlines are. So we can dive into what's factual about it, of like, hang on, like, we know it's not happening until November, like, what's going on? It seems like some of these headlines are scaring people, but that is good to know, and I'm saying everyone should know that. But on top of it, think about what's driving the stock. The stock's price is actively being impacted just by those headlines of the fact that they're saying that they could do that dilution in November. And really, like, and that's why stock market, it's like so much the perception of things. And that's why when, like, we're arguing with AMC, like, we're like, whoa, like, they're just asking for the proposal. These shares are like, we're a proposal we're voting on. But think about all those days that when it was discussed, it still hurt the stock, because there's some people who are not diving into it. So the stock market is a game of understanding where the crowd's going to go, and how a majority of the, I guess, investors and participants are going to react to the news. So right now on ATER, you're seeing a slew of these headlines about dilution. And then it's probably, hopefully, at least I hope, somewhere in the article where they get into the details of it. But we're in a day and age where people make these snap decisions based on headlines and a couple random comments here and there. And sometimes you have to account for that in, like, how a stock will react. Doubled my whole portfolio, swinging calls on S&P, moon gang, picks if needed. What BBIG look for today? AMC to the moon, holding here. BBIG. Okay, let me check out BBIG, and then let's find the exact articles, because right now with ATR, I think a lot of people have questions about it, and it seems like it's going to be worthwhile for us to dive in so everyone, at least listening, knows the exact specifics. So BBIG fighting back at 640, actually just got above 640. BBIG, the longer it hangs out above 640, I think it's going to be stronger. But anyway, let's talk about Artesian for right now. Artesian, let's see what the latest news is. Let's get to the bottom of what is or isn't going on. What is this one? Artesian, what is this new? Yeah, September 23rd. A result is Artesian, ATR. As a result, ATR stock is changing hands at 1736 at the time of the writing. On Wednesday, ATR stock closed at 1672 after increasing 28% in regular. The rise seems to be due to the short interest from buyers, with long-term investors fearing the post-selling scenario. Another factor behind the rise could be the recent launch of the shareholders perk program by Artesian, due to which the stock has been rising continuously over the last few days. So they launched some sort of shareholders perk program. Let me see. Is dilution even in? Nope. That's the financial results. One month. There's not really much. The e-commerce company saw its valuation surge after emerging potential short squeeze candidate, but big gains over the last couple of weeks also opened up the door for a dramatic pullback. The stock ended today's trading. This does not appear to be any major beyond the sell-off today. It's not surprising. hang on. Let me get some more news on this thing. ATER. There's not much being written about it. Okay. So here is the announcement for today. This was posted on Business Wire. Artesian reaches agreement with lender to pay down its term loan debt. Artesian announced today that it has reached an agreement with its lender, High Trail, to pay down its outstanding secured term debt in an aggregate principal amount of $66.3 million plus accrued and unpaid interest, which will be paid in shares of the company's common stock in accordance with the terms of the notes evidencing such debt. The remaining $25 million term loan debt will now mature in April 2023, and all financial. All right. So it looks like they're paying off their debt with. The question is, are those new shares, or is it who previously owned it? So this is, hang on, I wish I just knew where these shares specifically came from. To pay down its outstanding debt, secured term debt in an aggregate principal amount, which amount will be paid in shares of the company's common stock in accordance. So, okay. This is kind of interesting. It looks like they're paying off the remaining, will now mature. Pay down $66.3 million accrued, which will be paid in shares. So the question is, it sounds like these are new shares. So it's not a straight up dilution the way we've seen it before of AMC and GME. It's kind of interesting. So AMC and GME, previously, they had these authorized shares and they used some sort of bank like B. Riley or Goldman or someone like that to sell them to the market. This one's different. It doesn't look like they're actually hitting the public market. It sounds like there might be new shares, but these new shares are literally just being used to pay off Artesian's debt with High Trail. And if you want to read this yourself, it's all, it looks like it's a business. Where did I find this? It's on Globe Newswire. So Globe Newswire, if you search Artesian, it just came out today. There's not really much more news. But even this, the remaining $25 million term loan debt, I'm excited to share with our shareholders that Artesian has reached an agreement with its lender to satisfy the majority of its outstanding term debt and has made material progress in reducing its container shipping costs thanks to the support of various strategic shipping partners. There are two important steps. All right, they did that. They did that. Yeah, interesting. So, okay. If you're in a certain sense going to be like a purist and say, okay, wait, a dilution is just when there's new stock. Well, yes, this technically would fit that criteria, but it's very much, I would argue, a different it's not like a normal dilution the way like we think of it, of them just selling stock. It sounds like they're just taking some stock, they're not selling it to the market, they're paying off their debt with High Trail to do it. It sounds like is the current story. Tracy, shout out, video instructions. So with it, now that we're diving a little bit more into it, I actually think that this sell-off is super, super overstated. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but having a little bit of a better understanding of what's happening right now, and they're fundamentally strengthening the company. They're taking out most of their debt. They're paying it off with stock. And I think that's why people are talking about this dilution thing. But to me, this sell-off, it seems absurdly extreme. I think the market is mispricing the current situation on ATER, and I believe it's being currently undervalued, especially now diving into that Globe Newswire thing. I think when more and more big money realizes what's happening in ATER, I think this is a dramatic reaction, and I think it's going to bounce back to its quote-unquote normal levels sooner rather than later. All right, what else do we have? Shout out Proscape Designs. I can't believe you already doubled up your portfolio. That's amazing. Hey Matthew, not stock related, but I've been watching Silicon Valley on HBO and was wondering if you were a fan, being a coder yourself. Yeah, I've watched that entire, like, I think it was really funny. I think it was well done. I like it. I think that's a very good show. It cracked me up when the one guy left. Well, I don't want to give out any spoiler alerts, so maybe I should shut up. But yes, I do like it. Hey Matt, can you check QS please? QS. QuantumScape, EV play, looking very good. Why is this up 12%? There has to be some sort of announcement. QuantumScape signs deal with original equipment manager, partners with large automaker to test battery prototypes. So fundamental development, partnership, testing batteries. That's what's going on with QuantumScape. In terms of technicals, I would watch 28-ish, and I would really be watching 32. But hey, QuantumScape, I'm a fan of the EV sector. That's where QuantumScape is. They do batteries. But the news is a good fundamental development. That's why it's up. Can you play the Hex promo on Netflix? The gang would love it. Totally up your street. Just loaded on YouTube and 2 minutes long. Very cool. Bitcoin hacked for hours, big losses. Pulse goes live in 7 days. So getting in now is bonus. Yeah, so the Pulse update, I guess, for the Hex community, I think will be kind of interesting. I didn't know that there was even a Netflix thing. Let me see if I could track that down. Here's what I'll do. I'll track it down and make sure there's no like music or something that I'm going to get in trouble for. And then I could play it like in the afternoon session. The afternoon show. What do you think about ARBK? ARBK. Oh, the IPO. I wouldn't trade a new IPO. What's up with BCTX? BCTX. That's another crypto, right? Or well, this thing's looking strong as well. It's a therapeutic, so I kind of shy away from therapeutics plays, but I do it like this is kind of a cup and handle situation. Cup, handle, looking strong. AMC at 40.44, GME at 193.77. Aaron becoming an astronaut. Shout out Aaron. All right, let's check out some of these Ortex numbers on AMC and GME. AMC, they've now upped their borrow against AMC to 1.5 million, short interest of 20.6%. This is the highest short interest that AMC has had. But remember, this is estimated, but that's a considerable value. GameStop, they borrowed 409,000, short interest almost 15%. GME has not been over that in quite a while, so it's interesting to see both of these trending up. ATER, they borrowed about 500,000 with a short interest of 55% on the day. The Qs, is it coming back up to here? 474.30. That would mean it has to go another $1, so maybe we're not going to get that crazy with it. Let's go back to ATER. ATER getting out, flexing its muscles. ATER showing some strength. I think it's now that we dove into that news a little bit more on ATR, and like I see how it's getting in that world of dilution talk, but it's not as straight up as that. I don't know. I guess it depends on like what you would consider it, and I would want to dive a bit more into, is it shares that they're creating and they just had authorized that weren't in outstanding, or is it just from like a pool that the company already owned and they're just giving up a piece of that equity but it already exists? That would be my follow-up question on ATER, is where are those shares coming from? Have you got any info on the one-to-one dividend with BBIG and TYDE on October 15th? No. When I started seeing that the proxy wasn't really as bullish and as supportive as people wanted it on BBIG, I don't know. I think the community supporting BBIG was like a little bit disheartened by like that entire deal. So I haven't dove into any like really info about the dividend following that. Hey man, I would love to learn about crypto. Any chance you can make a video with the basics? Thanks for everything you do. Holding since January. Yes, Annie. I definitely could start doing some of those. And I think that'd be good content for the Kohrs Light channel. Would appreciate your opinion on HIVE. Hive blockchain. Hive blockchain, another miner. I'm not the biggest fan of miners in general because, well, if I were to do a miner, unless it's any, which is more of a short squeeze candidate, but now that's not on the FTD list, so even that's not like the strongest candidate anymore. So then I would look at the bigger ones such as Riot and Mara. But at that point, why not just play crypto directly? Like, I don't see why I would play a crypto miner when I could just play crypto directly. Because miners, yes, you are betting on the direction, and that's important, of crypto. So if you're bullish on crypto, that makes sense. But then you're also betting on the like inter-corporate, inter-business competition between all the miners. So like, I don't know if I want to take on that risk. Hence why I think I feel like it makes more sense just to play crypto directly instead of a crypto miner. If I would do a miner, that probably could get taken out of context. If I were to do a miner demonetized, shit. Awkward. ANY, Sphere 3D, yeah. Just tripled my exposure on an ATAR after that deep dive we did. Looks like a cash cow to me. I don't know if I would classify that as a deep dive, but I would say that this the fear of people talking about this dilution thing, it's, in my opinion, being overstated. And from a intraday trend line, I like that it broke out, and you're just looking for this to make its way back up to 1350, 1370. I don't think the bears have won the game on ATER. Hey, Molly, I know you don't talk long-term, but VOO is just like SPY. VOO is another ETF that tracks the S&P 500, the Vanguard S&P 500. So SPY is tracking the S&P 500. VOO is another one. So what's my long-term opinion on the overall market? Bullish. If you give it enough time, there's the market over the past how many ever decades, if you give it enough time, continues just to grind higher and higher and higher. Hey, Duck Boy, can you check LUV? What's going on with Southwest LUV? In terms of the airline sector, I would argue that LUV is the strongest fundamental like airline company. And actually, it looks like it's about to break out, or it's at least at resistance. I don't know if it will break, but if it does, this thing might get pushing up to 54. You could argue that a lot of these airlines are recovery plays. So as we get closer and closer to being done with this like horrific COVID saga and like we get it all behind us and no one's concerned about it anymore, I would expect airlines to continue up. And if I were to get an airline for a long-term investment, there's many, many strong arguments to be made that Southwest is the best fundamentally positioned airline company. American Airlines, I know a lot of people obviously fly on them, but from a business perspective, American Airlines is the worst. Southwest is the best big one. I would say big as in like massive one. Then you have some smaller ones such as JetBlue and Alaskan that I also really like. Delta and United are good. They're in the middle of the pack though, and American Airlines comes in at last. Spirit is interesting just because, so like American, it has a lot of debt and had a lot of debt coming into the whole COVID issue. But I kind of like Spirit because I think when all this ends, there's going to be a demand for budget travel. Like a lot of people are like, I don't care where we go. I just want a cheap flight, like get me somewhere. And I think Spirit will be able to use that opportunity because that's kind of like how it's built its brand. So I'm secretly like a little bit bullish on it, but it does have debt. But I mean, American is just a disaster. American, if you look into their fundamentals and what's going on there, American looked like crap before COVID hit. Like its fundamentals were not in a good situation. It was hemorrhaging money. And then you just throw in COVID, like a once in a multi-generational pandemic. And I don't know. It's just, I don't mind them when I fly on them as like I guess I enjoy American's product. It's all right. But in terms of a stock, I would avoid it. Double down on ATR 35 calls, cut my cost average way down. Wish me Godspeed to the moon. Duck boy, shout out. Thoughts on how to play BB today? My bags are green. I don't know if I would like actively day trade BB. If you want, like I don't know when you got in, but like you have to formulate your own plan. If you give it a couple days, BB, if it continues to show the strength, I think there's a real chance it tests $12. But if it starts to show some weakness, you might want to just lock in your gains. I mean, that's why you have to have your own plan. Like I'm seeing strength in BB, and the reason we're seeing strength in the chart is because it did do very well in its earnings announcement. Like it makes a lot of sense to me. I just don't know how much steam is like left in the engine on this particular move. It might be quite a bit more, or it might be it right here at 11. I'm unsure, but like that's why I this game of price prediction I think is a silly game. The way I view the market, it should be very much of just like, here's my reward, here's my risk, and you just wait until one of them's hit. Like you don't get into a play and then think, oh, like I wonder how, in like what scenario I would actually get out. You should have all those questions like figured out prior. Tuesday, I took the day off, relaxed, watched 2 to 4. Your comedy was on point, cracking me up and turn around Tuesday. Thoughts on LILM in the future? I have not heard of this stock. I don't even know what it does. Aerospace and defense. Oh, it just started trading. Whether it got uplisted or wait, what's going on with this stock? Why was it trading and then nothing happened and now it's trading again? That seems odd to me. I would want to look into what's going on with it. All right, we did this, we did that. Why is there a post on Reddit showing that AMC max cost to borrow at 72%? That can't be correct, is it? I don't know what day it's from, but I'm seeing the max cost to borrow is 2.72%. And new... you said 72? Yeah, there was a 72 yesterday. I'm seeing that information. Someone paid a lot. But also, so yesterday, the max cost to borrow, someone got locked in at 72, 73%, but the average for yesterday was 1.8. So the average matters a bit more, but someone did pay, like I'm seeing that same information, yes. K. Smith. Oh, thank you. Here's the 8K. I appreciate that. This is for the Ethereum thing. Reaches agreement with lender to pay down its term loan debt. So it looks like all the information is going to be in here, but it's right here. So with High Trail, the debt owner, Artesian will be paying down its outstanding secured term debt in an aggregate principal amount of $66.3 million plus accrued and unpaid interest, which will be paid in shares of the company's common stock in accordance with the terms of the notes evidencing such debt. So that's what's going on with Artesian, ATER. I think there's obviously some people reacting negatively to it, and if you ask me, it seems like an overreaction. But that probably explains why it's bouncing, because I think more people in it, now that the day's going on, they're like, whoa, what's actually happening here? And I think as people are diving into the news, there's a good shot that they're like, I think this is an overreaction, and hence you have buyers stepping in. How is ATR not indicating a massive short squeeze? Based on our thesis of AMC, massive cost to borrow, 100% utilization, massive short interest. Can you give your thoughts? Based on our thesis of AMC, the thesis of AMC is so incredibly different than ATER. The AMC and GME should be compared to nothing else. AMC and GME are 100% in a league of their own, and that's because of the size of their community support, which is incredibly important in the stock market. ATER, it has And I've been stressing this, and the reason I stress it every single day is because you have to think of them differently. If you're going around thinking, oh, this is AMC, this is GME, if you're not talking about AMC and GME, you're making an inappropriate comparison, a highly inappropriate comparison. ATER is a very promising FTD short squeeze play. And that's what I've been referring to them as, because that's exactly what they are. They're not something you dime in hand and it's not symbolic of like fighting against the wrongs in Wall Street. That's what AMC and GME are. ATR is not that. ATR is, hey, it looks like a very, very interesting and viable short squeeze play. You get in, you look for a massive gain, and you get out, but it's not something you dime in hand to the grave. And I want that to be very, very clear to everyone listening right now. I like it. I like AMC. I like GME. I like the Qs. I like ATR, but I like all these for different reasons. And you have to understand what types of trades, what stocks are. Do you ever GameFi ERC20? Ryan, I do not. Like recent video of Brian makes Benjamins. I haven't even heard of that, Ryan. I'll check it out. Thanks, Moonman, Mark, Anthony. Yeah, no, like ATRs, it's exciting. And it's weird because like I'm trying to explain how they're different, but just because I think they're different, I don't think it's bad. Like I made a video on yesterday on ATR saying like, no, this thing could go wild. I just don't want people to end up becoming bag holders because they think it's gonna do like some like crazy thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of % of return. ATR, it's a legitimate short squeeze candidate. It's a legitimate FTD short squeeze candidate. Stocks are, I would assume, I'm betting on them making good money. Obviously, if you're right, you could make more money if you do properly timed call options. Like there's like, I mean, just by the leverage, obviously you can make more, you could lose more when you're playing with options because they're leveraged at a rate of 100 to 1. I think there's good money to be made in ATER. I just don't want people thinking everything out there that moves is like AMC and GME, when in reality, nothing is like AMC and GME besides AMC and GME. Completely different trades. Thanks for the research and updates. Whenever I watch your live, my account is always green. I got to tune in every day. Man, not many people say that, so I'm happy it's working for you, Dr. Thompson. The 8K seems bullish to me, but I may be an idiot. Who knows? I think people are overreact. I like that ATR is using the current environment to take care of their debt. I think that's a smart business move. It tells me that the people who are running ATR kind of like they have a good business sense. I like that. Do you see AMC bouncing back today like 41, 42? I know, not financial advice. The shorter the time frame, the more randomness involved. So where is AMC going to be at the end of the day? I don't know. I play it from level to level. Right now, the current level, the support's at 40, and the current resistance is at 41.20. Then we have another one at 41.50. In a bigger short time frame, I'm very much looking for AMC to gap fill up to 44.20. But that might take a couple days. It might happen today. I don't know. But like the game of where is this stock specifically going to go today, that's just, there's too much randomness. I don't think anyone could really accurately predict that stuff time and time again. Yeah, of course you're going to be right once in a while. If you always say the exact same thing day over day, well, yeah, of course, eventually you're going to be right. And everyone's going to be like, oh, look, they got the prediction right. But I've never seen anyone get daily calls day over day to like a high degree of accuracy. If the cost to borrow raised to 72% for a brief second, wouldn't that mean that they almost ran out of shares to borrow for a short period of time? What it tells me, you can't say they, because like it depends on the different brokerage. Like different prime brokers have different amount of shares available. So what it tells me is that one prime broker out there had a very small amount of shares, and someone who was dealing with that very specific prime broker was desperate to short AMC. For whatever reason. Maybe they're not hooked up with other prime brokers, but different prime brokers charge different amounts based on how many shares they have available and how many of their clients are trying to short that particular stock. So that's why you see the differing values, is because different prime brokers can charge what they want. That's a great question, Soul. All right, ATR looking strong. It's at 13. I'm watching 13.75. The region between 13.50 and 13.75. This 25-cent gap, roughly. The Qs are coming back. AMC bouncing off of 40.25. We're at 40.75-ish right now. I'm watching 41. I'm watching 41, 41.20, 41.50 are my first three intraday watches. All right, what else do we have? We are good there. We went over the Artesian stuff. I've been logged out due to inactivity. Are you kidding me? Me, inactive? All right, ATR, it's looking strong. I think people are starting to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Maybe that news isn't as bad as some people are saying the news is. GME flexing a little bit. AMC also trying to flex a little bit. How's the SPY looking right now? SPY, new intraday high, pushing. IWM, same thing, pushing. In fact, the NASDAQ is the one that's not pushing a new intraday high yet. It looks like it's lagging a little bit behind. A little bit behind. All right, folks. It just feels like a good green day. A good green day. All right. What would happen in a short squeeze scenario if the bulls borrowed large percent of the shares on loan to drive up the cost to borrow, but never actually shorted the stock? You would be taking away a lot of the supply, but then you also have to find like a willing candidate who's willing to spend that money on the cost to borrow. But if someone's willing to take that short-term risk to hopefully in like attempting to trigger a mother of all short squeezes, it might be a big brain play. I'm setting up a run. I want to bring your attention $5. This is setting up a run. P15, the option chain is loaded. New partners with battery recycler. I want to bring your attention. Wait, Occam's phaser for a run. Wait, Occam's phaser. I'm not seeing a ticker symbol in here. What do you do at 11 a.m. when you sign off? Run a 10K? I wish. Recently, I've just been trying to do some back end like business stuff, think of like content, like research things myself. I've been spending more time hanging out with people in the voice channel on Discord, just a bit more relaxed. We talk about whatever's moving or whatever we feel like talking about. So a little combo of everything, but content prep, research, interviews, Discord mainly, I would say. China drama resolved, or are they kicking the can? It's lessening, but I don't know if I would say resolved. Because Evergrande still has debt, unless there's something new that I'm missing, unless there's like a brand new announcement. But I think they still have to pay off $125 million in interest within the next 6 days. Am I seeing anything about Evergrande? Evergrande. No, I don't think we're completely out of the woods, but the issue is lessening. Charles Payne tweeted that the net retail purchases out of, I guess, all major stocks in the past 5 days, Apple's number one, AMD's number two, and AMC is number three. So this is in the past 5 days. Where is retail putting their money? AMC is number three. It's actually more than Microsoft, Alibaba, Verizon, Nvidia, Intel. I mean, a lot of retail money flowing into AMC, with number one being Apple, number two being AMD. All right. I'm ATR is looking good. It's at resistance right now, 1370. If it goes above this, I'm literally watching a dollar higher at 1470. I don't think they're. Maybe I should watch 416. Nah, I'm just gonna say 1470. Whatever. Fortune favors the bold. Bought some November 1955 ATR calls paid 80 cents per call. Let's go. Shout out Christian. I hope you get it. I hope you crush it. Ford. Okay, you were talking about Ford Occam's phaser. Ford. What did he ask about this? Attention. I'm setting up for run 15, the options chain load 14, 15 new partners. So Ford has been making that pivot into the EV world, and it has the name recognition to pull it off well. It just did a gap fill up to 1340, but it's continuing to show strength. I think there's a real shot in the short term that Ford is pushing 14. It looks like it's trying to break out of this bear trend that started in early June. So this could be like, I would legitimately just watch. I mean, it's breaking out. It reaffirmed. I mean, Ford, I don't know if I would day trade it. It's never like, I've never perceived Ford to be like an interesting day trade. But if you're looking for a medium term swing, I mean, Ford, the risk reward's there. You're risking $1 and the reward is way more. Like it's a good setup right now on Ford. I do agree. Full stream, please. Girlfriend's driving me mad. Second the motion to help out Tommy's situation. What time is it? Oh, it's 11 now. I'll go for a bit longer, but I do have some things to take care of, and I want to hang out with some of the peeps chilling in the Discord. What do we have here? AMC, GME, Qs, IWM. All right, that's looking good. IWM, I'm looking for another dollar push in the short term. ATER, almost green on the day. I just said, what was I saying? Over 1370. I'm fully watching 1470. ATER is fighting back with some vengeance. Matt, are you rich? Do you need AMC to squeeze? Let's go. I am not a rich human being. I want to be a rich human being. I don't necessarily need AMC to squeeze, but I very much like want it to squeeze. Hashtag fire Gary. All right, ATER, thus far we undershot it by about 20 cents, hit 1450. Not good enough. We're still looking for 1470. Not good enough. All right, AMC pushing that 41 level again. Let's do a quick Vortex check on everything just to see where we're at on the day. AMC, they borrowed 1.5 million. Short interest is 20.5%. GME, they borrowed 409,000. Short interest is almost 15% for ATER. Just so you know, they did borrow an additional 500,000 today. Short interest is 55.3%. Crypto looking strong. Hex, I mean, we called out Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Hex. That's why I had all these marked, and I kept the marks up, and thus far it's playing out well. Maybe I'll be embarrassed in a couple days or so, but I called all of these out. I was like, hey, I think this is an interesting dip buy. I actually used that opportunity to buy the dip in Solana. How's that one looking right now? I got the, what was my fill on Solana? How do you know your fill? I don't think it explains it like that. I guess Coinbase makes you do your own math, which is not fun. Not fun in the slightest. How do I know my fill? And also, obviously, there's fees. But with the fees and everything, I guess I got my fill at 137 on Solana. That's good for me to know because I actually had no clue. But Solana, that's nice. Up $10 on that one. Thanks for checking out the Hex clip. No drama with the clip, not licensed sound clip. Hex up 10%. I mean, yeah. I'm bullish on Hex. I think, hey, I haven't made money because I haven't locked anything in because I've staked it for years and years and years. But I'm at least up money, which is fun. Bulldog trading offline on YouTube again. Is that true? I know that they had issues. I didn't know. I thought they got it back though. You're playing Hedgie's hands with crypto. How am I playing into Hedgie's hands with crypto? What a ridiculous comment. Matt, you said Solana was filled at 136 plus. So it shows 137, I guess, is my average because like they have fees. So by the time I took in the fees into account, I guess it bumped it up another $1. My duck get XRP. I sent referral over a month ago. To which one? Are you talking about like Uphold or something? I'm still pending on a lot of these. I don't know, like some of them I'm just like not getting approved, but Ripple is probably the next one that I want to do like my own personal deep dive into and buy some. Is like out of all those, like I already, like I'm just slowly but surely building out, like every couple months I'm just adding to my crypto portfolio, and I'm just going to sit here and wait and wait and wait. And my bet on crypto is that when I'm like an old grumpy man, that it'll make me a lot more money. I want to be old, rich, grumpy man status because of crypto. Like I'll just sit there like, humbug, humbug. I'll just sit there on my like rich crypto gains. Does AIM see a bigger squeeze than the previous squeeze of Jamie? Is ATR bigger, both of them? I don't, previous squeeze of AMC. Hang on, does AMC ATR? No. I don't know if I fully get the question. If you're talking about potential, I don't know if I would compare any of those three. Just because, can something with a lower short interest squeeze higher? Well, yes, because like there's other things that can provide demand. Remember, a stock goes up for more than just shorts covering, and then you have to factor in certain things like, okay, what are the options chains looking like? Are they bloated? They're going to be hedging. Is it a lower float? You have a lot of things to compare, and by a certain point, you're going to realize that there's so many variables that it's borderline unsolvable, and you just have to sit back and enjoy the rocket ship. Was ATR halted at all today? I don't believe so. If so, why not? Because it never hit the circuit halt. Like it has to move a certain percentage within a small amount of time to trigger a circuit halt. Matt, what are the total shares on loan for AMC and what is the utilization percentage? Thanks for all you do. Uh-oh. What's going on? Why is YouTube freaking out? Am I back? Can you guys hear me all right? It looks like there were issues. Hey, shout out Warpigs. I appreciate you subscribing with Prime. It looks like I'm going on Rumble and on Twitch. I think I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Just a weird, whatever, internet hiccup. Where were we at? Breast milk money. What were the total shares on loan for AMC? Total shares on loan, 114 million. Utilization, almost 90%. Joe Miami. Can you LICY? LICY. LICY intraday, just, I don't know, a lot of whip. The daily's looking strong. But you have this region of resistance really between 11 all the way up to 1250. There's just scattered resistance. So the risk reward to enter now is poor. But if you got in previously, maybe 824 would have been a great entry. 925, a little bit more risky, but it would have paid off in this scenario. Financial conglomerate. I mean, it's looking strong. It's just I don't know if it's going to break. I just know it's at resistance right now, and you have to see if there's going to be enough momentum to get it through this resistance. Thoughts on AMRS? Ended up in via acquisition, no connection to them beyond shares. Thoughts on AMRS? Boring. It looks, I wouldn't say it's bullish, it's just range bound. It like sold off, kind of came up. Now it's halfway, a little bit bearish, but it just seems like a boring stock. You might get some good movement. I mean, I guess it did go 12 to 16. But recently in September, at least in the second half of September, just really not moving. It doesn't seem like it has like volatility or direction or trend. So I wouldn't say good or bad. You're just kind of waiting for it to actually do something. URG. What's going on with URG? Your energy. Other metals, materials, non-energy minerals. I don't know what this company is, but it does look like it wants to sell off to $1.50-ish. Like it's like it had a nice run up and now it looks weak, and I don't see buyers stepping in yet. So if you're looking to create a position, you have to be patient and wait for the buy. Like you don't want to catch a falling knife. Like you want other people to attempt to catch a falling knife and wait for them to actually get it to change course. Why didn't the circuit breaker kick in on 435 Phantom Spike 2 days ago in GME after hours? I don't think there's halts after hour, but also I don't know what a Phantom Spike is. I don't know if I've heard of a Phantom Spike. R Hart becoming an astronaut. Shout out. I appreciate you joining up. My wife is watching. Shout out. Shout out. It sounds like we have another birthday in the house. Mariah. Happy birthday, Mariah. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Happy birthday. Happy candles on your cake day. Hey, Matt, ticker BKNG. How long would you watch the stock before swinging it and scalping it? Where would you enter? BKNG. Booking Holdings. Booking.com. I would have felt like I missed the party on this one. It looks like maybe a cup in it. Like it looks like it wants to make a run to 2,500, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets rejected there, ends up making a handle. I would see that, but to enter now, I mean, that's a bit crazy. It just bounced off of 2,000. Like you're off by almost 25%. It's moved since the end of August, so it's chasing right now. I mean, especially today, like your closest risk point is 2,280. I think this runs, gets smacked, comes down, consolidates, and then moves from there. I would wait for that smack and consolidation. That's how I would look at booking. But I guess it's just a recovery play. It feels like there's money. There's totally money pouring into it. It's just I would rather be early money pouring into it. Shout out the AR guy. All right, ATER, filling some gaps, getting people so they don't have to worry about all that stuff. And we're off. And we're off to the races. All right, looking for the Qs to come back. That would be nice. I want this to hit a high. The SPY, it pushed it. The Russell 2000, it was pushing. The tech's a little bit weak on a relative basis. I mean, you have the SPY up 1.3%. You have Russell 2000 up 1.3%. The Nasdaq's up 0.9%. So tech a little bit weaker on the day. Is Apple being weak? Is Microsoft being weak? No, Microsoft's having a good day. Not as good. It's up 0.6%. Microsoft, that's up 0.5%. So maybe it's just because so many big players are not up the same amount. Nvidia is doing its gap fill. Folks, we've learned it. You can't bet against Pelosi. To me, that's one of just the most egregious things. The fact that so many of our elected officials can just trade willy-nilly on like clear insider information Like, come on. Nvidia, how's AMD doing? AMD, I'm down on AMD. I got in a little bit chasey at 110, but I was risking 100 and it just hasn't hit my risk yet. But I like AMD. It's more of a long-term position for me. Sens, shout out to True Demon and really the Discord. Sens, it's up 0.84%. I did free up some money in my long-term account. Interested in Sens. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm interested in it. What else do we have? Tesla. A lot of people talking about Tesla. Hanging out at 750. It's been rejected at 760 so many times. I'm looking for Tesla to finally snap 760 and make a very quick run up to 780. What other ones? I haven't looked at Shopify in a hot minute. How has Shopify been doing? Kind of boring, kind of nothing. When I was really watching Shopify, it was at like 1,150 and now we're at 1,400. Shopify has made a lot of people a lot of money as a stock and just also as a company. Let's go back to the Qs. I don't like how on a relative basis this is still struggling. Okay, AMC 41 bouncing off of 40.25. I like that 75% retraction. We're still watching 41.20 though. GME bouncing off of 192.50 at almost 195. It has an intraday high of 195.75. ATER blowing through resistance, getting smacked, hopefully finding support at previous resistance right here of 13.50. You're going to be looking for, I guess, basically a cup and handle on this situation. Here's the cup and here's the first part of the handle, but obviously the second part of the handle is kind of the important one. I would say the handle is successfully being formed if we get back above 1390. Went long on SPY for October 1st, 447, looking good to hold or swing. Okay, SPY 447. What are my thoughts on SPY? It's at resistance right now. If this can hold, if we close like this, my next target would be 446, which is closer. So you don't necessarily have to hold it to the point that it's in the money, because if we push that far, you're still going to have nice gains. October 1st. The timing, not my favorite timing. I wish you gave yourself a bit more time, but I think the odds are in your favor. What do you think about Sava? Currently a bag holder. Sava, I hope one of these days does this gap fill to 115. Actually, in the short term, you even have a different gap fill up to 67. I don't know what price you became a bag holder at, but it looks like it's trying to fight back. I would look for it to get above 60, then I'd watch 67, then you have this junk in here, and then you're going to have a fight just below 100, and then I think a gap fill up to 115. It might take some time. I would want to look into why it sold off so aggressively, but if it's an overreaction, well, you have two nice gap fills. Where? Mr. Boulay, wait, where's yours? Could check DDS. Wait, where's Mr. Boulay's? Brambles, shout out. Market super green. Thoughts on JOBY? You got to say the story about your teacher. So Mr. Boulay, I actually saw CNBC. JOBY made CNBC's list today when I was reading about pre-market movers. I saw something about... Nope, that is not right. JOBY. I saw something. What was the news on JOBY? What happened with this one? JOBY. Morgan Stanley initiated coverage of air taxi startup JOBY Aviation with an overweight rating, saying in a note to clients on Thursday that investors should take a look at a stock with major potential. Joby JOBY popped more than 5% in extended trading. So basically, what's going on with JOBY? It sounds like it's in a cool sector. Morgan Stanley just initiated coverage, as in they're going to be like doing up breakdowns and updates on it. And people like that, and they gave it an overweight, saying, hey, it has a lot of potential. So that's why Joby's up. It looks, did it actually gap fill? Almost. So short-term target, very, very easy. This gap fill up to 1132. You have to be a little bit hesitant about the gap on the bottom side to 10. So you're kind of in no man's land. But with the news and people, Morgan Stanley saying, hey, this is an undervalued company, like we like it. I would assume that this top gap gets filled first, but it might do a weird thing where it shoots up, gap fills, and bounces off of that. It's a hard chart to read just because it only started trading in August. So it's starting to get some nice development. I do like the MACD crossover. So right now, I mean, I think it's favoring the bulls. I mean, Morgan Stanley coming out very bullish on it. You get the technical cross, you have this gap fill. After the gap fill, I'd watch 1240, 50-ish. You could also watch this trend line as well. But I'm learning about it right now. I just recognize the name Mr. Boulay from earlier today, but it seems like the signs are favoring the bulls on that particular one. What else do we have? Okay, what robot is buying AMC right now? Do you see these steps? Someone trying to Thursday trap us. I want apes to buy, not robots, but maybe some of these are hedgy friends using their power. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about these big players, they're going to scale in and scale out. They're not just going to do it all at once. That would be very disadvantageous to them. That's how they would prefer better fills. So when you have big players trying to get in, there's a good chance that they're utilizing an algorithm to buy at like opportune times and do it slowly and surely, because they're not trying to run the price up, because if they run the price up, well, then they get a worse fill. And in the game of the stock market, it's like you kind of worry about yourself first and everyone else second. CEI and DDS. CEI. Man, this thing did not take much of a breather before it started moving again. What a run up. You just have all these, I guess, this is an oil and gas one. It runs up. It did not take much of a breather, and it's already showing strength again. CEI, there's like, this stock has proven that it can keep just trucking. I would risk somewhere between 136, 122. That would be my region of risk. And I would just be hoping that it breaks out. Right now, the risk reward is not that optimal, because if you're risking 140, you have about, 30 cents with about 20 cents of upside. But if you think it's going to break, well, you are buying it. Like, you waited for the consolidation, the sell-off to happen, and it's already fighting back. So, I mean, I'm not going to hop on it just because I'm not the biggest fan of like these penny stocks. It's only recently got out of the penny stock territory. But I do admit, like, if you weren't looking at the price just from the chart, this is looking pretty strong. It ran up, lower highs, higher lows. It looks like it's trying to break out of the bullish pennant. It's showing quite a bit of strength. DDS breaking out of 210. I like that. Dillard's. This, I think, had another good report. So it's not the craziest mover. It seems like it hops up, trades sideways, hops up, trades sideways, hops up. Might be trading sideways for a little bit, but I mean, it's just been ripping higher and higher. I think this is a restaurant play, so somewhat of recovery play. It looks strong. I'm not too keen on buying on it at like an all-time high, but it's repping some strength. So if you're already in it, congrats to you. Ride the train. Thoughts on LEV? Been on a long downturn, but looking like it might be finally bouncing. The Line Electric Company, motor vehicles. To me, it's still in the downtrend. To break out of the downtrend, I would want to see it above 14 and ideally above 16. But I see what you're saying. It's like it's a small period of strength and it might become more, but I wouldn't want to see a bit more momentum. Does BBIG look like a dead cat? BBIG. BBIG below 640 is not the best scenario. If it hangs out below 640, I'd be watching 550 as like the next place where it could bounce. It's just we haven't had any buyers stepping into BBIG ever since September 9th. September 10th until now, it's just selling. The more it gets sold off, the more me knowing about statistical reversion, I'm like, okay, wait, it might need a bounce here. But the snap below 640, not the best. I think a lot of people are watching the psychological level of 6. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of people perhaps who are watching right here who are like, okay, I'll risk this $6 mark. And I guess going below it, maybe people have some stop losses. But if it goes below 6, I would predict a flush to 550. Rumor has it Mason Kohrs is training a non-lethal ninja assassin duck army. The objective is to stop people from enjoying any theater that's not an AMC. Got a couple bad plays like skills at 1925. Would you just hold these or cut losses and reinvest? I don't need the cash, so holding isn't an issue. SKLZ. SKLZ is showing some strength right now. So even if you're okay with getting out for a loss, like you might be able, if you're a bit more patient, you might be able to get out for like less of a loss. Like it's showing some strength right now, DJ. PLTR is Palantir is looking strong. Do you think it will baby gap fill to 30, 44, and 31? I very much like Palantir. Very, very much like Palantir. And I agree with you. I'm fully looking for this gap fill up to 31, 34. To me, that's a very obvious play. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but Palantir gap filling up to 31, 34, to me, the odds are greatly in that favor of that bet. What else do we have? All right, sweet. Hang on one second. Whoa, what is this? NQC21. That's crazy. LICW, not financial. Lithium battery recycling patent tech looks potential monster. Oh, financial conglomerate most likely means it's like a SPAC play. Like they're just absorbing it so it can trade on the market. So that just tells me that the full deal or the full acquisition hasn't gone through. So that's kind of the joke of when I say financial conglomerate. A lot of the time it's just some big financial entity absorbing a portion or all of another company so it can trade publicly. It's just like a faster way to get traded on the market opposed to going through like an IPO or a direct listing. So LICY would be the entity of money that's absorbing part or all of the equity of the lithium battery recycling company. All right. So Palantir looking strong. How's ATR looking right now? 1340. Just dancing around right here. How's the SPY looking? Taking a look at SPY. So it went up, took a breather, basing. I don't know why, but the Qs, the tech sector is acting a little bit more weak. I mean, the small cap is ripping right now. Small cap is looking very, very good. This is probably part of the reason why AMC had such a nice bounce from 40.25 all the way up $1. Right now we're at 41.10. This is good. The Russell 2000 pushing this strongly is good for AMC. Thoughts on BB and what the market will look like in January. So BB, strong earnings announcement. I think the momentum will continue. And what will the market look like in January? I don't know. I need to get through October, November, and December. We'll answer the January problem in a couple months. Thoughts on, at this time, I could really use a heartfelt, sincere, oh, brother. Shout out Dan Smith. I hope everything's going all peachy in your world. And if not, it's just an oh, brother type of a day. And tomorrow will be a new day. Can I look at Cat? What's Caterpillar up to? Cat is pushing up 3%. Cat, easy gap fill call. 199.45, and then from there I'd be watching 204. Cat, but bouncing back, I'd be bullish on it in the short to medium term. I don't necessarily know if it'll gap fill that, like you asked, in the next few days. I don't really like to time box things like it. I think it could get very dangerous, but I do think sooner rather than later we're going to get a gap fill and hopefully a continuation up to 204. But I actually do want to spend a little bit of time about that January question. In reality, like, no one knows that type of stuff, but I do want to let you know that from about the first third of October until the end of the year is a pretty bullish period, just so people know, like, seasonality. In fact, let me show my apologies. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Equities, futures, equity, S&P 500, seasonal chart. Here's exactly what I'm talking about. So seasonally, we're right here. This is for the S&P 500. So we see this sell-off in the second half of September. But as soon as you get to the first third of October, from there until the end of the year, pretty bullish. Yeah, there's a little bit of a hiccup around Thanksgiving because people don't really trade around Thanksgiving. But overall, there is a seasonal statistical edge for you creating a position about a third of the way until October and riding it out until actually about the first third of January. Just, these are patterns. These are the statistical patterns. If you don't have to always trade like that, like, it doesn't have to follow seasonality, but seasonalities, it's usually a pretty strong indicator. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm almost wondering if that's like an interesting bet about a third of the way into October, then buying some like January calls on the market, or maybe getting some volatility puts or something along those lines. But I do think that there's going to be strength for the final 3 months of the year, just based on seasonality. Nicholas Smith becoming a space ape. Any thoughts on betting against hospitality, Marriott and Hilton at unrealistic highs? That's kind of a dangerous bet, because I think all of a sudden, if we get a new announcement, like as things progress in the right direction regarding COVID, I think people get enthusiastic about these more and more of the recovery plays. So I see what you're saying about fundamentals, but remember with AMC and GME, things have been proven that they could trade at a high premium relative to their fundamentals for quite a while. So I see what you're saying, but I think there's going to be enthusiasm as we like make more and more progress and return to normal, and people are going to buy up the cruise lines and hotels and airlines, that type of a deal. Shout out Nicholas. All right, we did that. Hey, Matt, wondering what you think about Lucid, bought in as a long play at 20, week-long production previous next week, catalyst 30. All right, LCID. So I have only been messing around with Lucid as a long-term EV investment. I haven't really been actively trading it. If we're really looking at this guy, I mean, we just know there's resistance between 28 and 30. So I'm just waiting for the breakout of 28 and 30. It might get rejected there. I don't know if it goes like and gets hit hard to the 20. I just buy more, but I'm just looking for LCID to finally break above 30. You're putting a timetable on it by saying it'll happen in October. It could happen that soon. I mean, we're seeing some strength, and right now it's like, I guess after this push, the R sign needs to cool off a bit. That's exactly what's happening. So it's just a question of like, when is the moment, like how quickly will the momentum return? The Spicy Chef, AMC $48 strike, October 15th. In terms of AMC in the short term, October 15th, you're giving yourself 3 weeks. I don't know. I actually kind of like that play. Like typically I wouldn't, but right now with AMC's volatility being so low and we're fighting back above 40 and we're checking out 41.50 and we're checking out that gap fill up to 44. The Spicy Chef, I think it could be reasonable for you to just let it develop a bit more. I do. Did you find it easier to grow your account by playing SPY and IWM options or any of the major stable stocks? That's actually kind of where, okay, so I found my first bit of success in the futures market related to the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, Russell, gold, commodities, blah, blah, blah. And for me, it was, and even till today, I'm still, like, I'm not the most disciplined trader. So me coding up an algorithm helped me become disciplined. So that's where I first found my success, because like I wasn't messing with the trade. I found that like I had a good plan and I had a good trading plan. It was me, my issue was not being able to stick to my trading plan. So after that, when I got a little bit more disciplined, I just got good at tracking a certain amount of stocks. Like I would always check in on Microsoft, Apple, Tesla. And I find that sometimes, especially this is one of the things that I don't like about this, like this short squeeze saga within the market is like, I think you have a lot of people who are like running around a little bit too hectic. They're like, this play's moving, this play's moving, this play's moving. And I think there is an advantage of like having a nice basket of stocks that you know well, because then you can recognize when it's giving you opportunity. Because if you're always running around chasing, well, you're always the one that's late to the party. You want to be there before the party. And right now, people doing it have made a lot of money. When you see things like ATR, SPRT, like those ones, a little bit of chasing has panned out for people. Right now, I mean, I can't argue with it. Like I can't, because people are making serious money on it, but just know that that pattern might not be here forever. And I think a good default methodology is having a basket of stocks that you know well, and you know the opportunities to buy and sell, especially if they're a little bit more active and volatile like Tesla. I think it does pay in the market. It pays to have expertise in one little niche thing, opposed to like a general knowledge of everything. Trading is hard and expertise pays. Wish, people asking about Wish. How's Wish looking? Wish. So it's bouncing off an all-time low. I would want to see a bit more momentum and strength. But I hope eventually, especially for people bag holding Wish, I hope it does at least gap fill up to this 930 area, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. All right. My SPRT shares disappeared. No, they actually got converted over to GREE. GREE. All right, folks. So that is it actually for the morning session. I didn't even realize it was past 11:30. That's it for the morning episode. I will be back 2 p.m. Eastern at the latest. So we're going to be back here for the afternoon. This is the morning session. Just got to take care of some things. And also hang out with some of all of you if you're hanging out in the Discord for the day. But I'll be there. Have some other things to take care of. But I'll be back 2 p.m. Eastern at the latest. But for the morning session, thank you so much for all of your support. Things are looking green right now. Let's see if we can get a nice base on some higher lows and then push into the afternoon session. I think that would be kind of the interesting action that I'm personally looking for. But as always, thank you for the support. I'll be catching you later in the day. And for me and Chair, best of luck in the markets.